Hey everyone, we are back with another update video. This one is for our game project DaemonClaw, and with me as always is Corey. Say hi, Corey.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
So the first big news is Allister Brimble has finished the other two of the three required cinematic songs for the game. And to remind you guys, now if you go to our website and unmute the trailer video on the DaemonClaw page, you can hear a bit of Allister's music, and there's more to come. In fact, he is working on the level 1 boss fight music as we speak. So the other stuff that's been going on has all been in level 2, so I'm just going to start playing the game. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to use the cheat to skip to level 2. So the first thing, let me cheat to get some magic as well. If you guys recall, in this level at two different parts, there are these giant ice boulders, and if you look carefully, there's human beings, soldiers, frozen in those ice blocks that are being hurled at you. And we always had the intention of eventually telling that story. Here comes the first. Here it is. Slams down on the ground. If you look carefully in there, there's a silhouette of a guy. And I should have pointed this out ahead of time, but there's one more set coming up, so that's okay. But when they hit the ground, boulders, or basically shrapnel from the ground, goes flying up into the air, and it used to land right in the same kind of walking area that the player is on. And I didn't quite like that. They're fairly big rocks. They're spinning through the air, and they're right in the same exact Z-depth space as the player. In fact, they even land right on the ground where you are. So it was kind of a miscommunication to the player. It made it feel like maybe that was something you needed to avoid to not be damaged by these giant pieces of flying shrapnel. So what I did instead is I changed the art so that as it's spinning and flying in the air, it's getting bigger and bigger as though getting closer to the viewer, and therefore moving farther away from the play area into the foreground. And then instead of making it land on the ground, it just keeps falling down off screen, off that kind of cliff edge you see there. So keep an eye out for that the next time the ice boulders are coming. And aside from that, while I work my way up there, I've just been fixing minor bugs and gameplay tweaks to make level 2 more fun.
And there's also the possibility I might touch up the lightning effects and stuff like that. The really big ones, you know. Yeah. We'll see, though. Because originally they were on a much lighter background, so I kind of wanted to tweak them with this new sort of sky we had put together.
And then now we're about to get into the storytelling part. You may have seen the time-lapse video that Corey had made a while back of him designing the trebuchet, which is like a catapult. It's the thing that's been launching. But now there's actually a character that was controlling the trebuchet, so you'll see that shortly. But the one thing that's missing before I get to him, the one animation yet to be done, is going to be a cool intro animation that has that enemy start at the trebuchet with his hand on it, so you could really tell he was the one operating it, and then grabbing his sword and shield, or it's not a sword, a weapon and shield, and coming into the foreground to fight the player. So you'll see, for now he's just standing there, as you can see, but that's what will happen. And we did a really cool brainstorming video that we actually made live. Usually the brainstorming sessions we end up releasing those as videos for our Patreon patrons only, but we made that video public, and we highly recommend you take a look. I'll link to it when I'm editing this video and stuff. But you'd see this guy, he can usually block. I don't know why he's not right now, but and he's got two different power levels of that magic fire attack, and he has a regular physical, and there's his death.
I'm definitely feeling, after seeing him more, you know, the size of him. Mm-hmm. I know the larger something is on such a bright ground like that sort of snow, right, like he might deserve a shadow since he doesn't ever really jump or anything. You know what I mean? Like, right, he might, like, that's something that might make it look a little nicer, I think.
Right.
But we'll see.
Yep. All right, cool. And then, so what we'll be doing next, now that he's in there, obviously I'm going to continue, and in fact, this weekend, I'm going to get a new build out to our patrons so they can actually play this level and give us feedback. And in the meantime, I'll be going through further improving every aspect of level 2 gameplay-wise, tweaking the position of when enemies show up, tweaking their AI when necessary, their hit points, all those sort of things to really polish up the gameplay for level 2. And then while we're doing that, the next step, also this weekend, I'm going to kind of fill out the flow of the game, even though a lot of stuff isn't done yet. For example, you'll see when I leave level 2 here, it should go into the level 2 boss fight, and there should be an intro dialogue, and then once you beat the boss, there should be an outro scene, and then it should go into level 3. And so I'm just going to make all of that flow actually happen and go to the proper screens in the right order, even if for now it's going to be an empty boss fight arena with just a sprite you punch once and it'll trigger, the ending and all that stuff. I just want to get the whole game flowing the way it's supposed to, and then we could fill in all of those screens and all of those scenes as we go along. And in the meantime, Corey is going to be upgrading these levels. You'll really see where it needs to be upgraded when I jump. But there we go.
Right, yeah.
But so level 3 and 4 have not yet gotten the glorious upgrades that Corey gave level 1 and 2, because originally this game had kind of inherited needlessly limited graphical limitations. It's a long story, but we decided to make the game as though it were running on a Mega Drive visually. And in fact, audio, Allister Brimble, the musician, the music he made for this game, it's all legit made on an editor that can make Mega Drive music. But anyway, so Corey has a lot more colors and more powerful layered scrolling at his disposal now, and as you can see, the maps got bigger and the screen itself got a bit bigger.
Yeah, this one I'm looking forward to really upgrading, because it's a fun, very different level than all the others, I think.
Yeah, I was actually thinking we could even get into using the Mega Drive's animated tile support. Like, imagine if these hives were throbbing a little bit or something, or you know what I mean? Occasionally vibrating or had some kind of movement going on, and then it could really make a difference. We could even, since the back layer would be its own, it's what's called a play field, like actually separated as far as the hardware is concerned. We could even give it like a heat and humidity waviness effect or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's fun stuff we can experiment with. There will be an actual classic Amiga port made of this game, but it's going to be built on top of the same game engine, being done by a really good programmer, Alex Brown, who's making Metro Siege. So if you've seen our other game project, Metro Siege, that already runs on classic Amiga and is a graphically very powerful game. And so the Amiga port of DaemonClaw will be built on top of that, and therefore it could definitely handle the full screen resolution and things like that. So keep an eye out for future news, and eventually to see exactly what the Amiga version will look like. We ourselves won't know until we can start working with Alex Brown and kind of benchmarking and testing with the real it's called the Engine 9000, the code from Metro Siege, and throw things at it and start experimenting and see just how much layers of scrolling and color and stuff we can get on screen at a nice smooth frame rate. So something to look forward to in the future. And one last thing, we will finally start making games and construct videos again. If you recall that series, this initial version of DaemonClaw is being made for modern platforms in a game authoring system called Construct 3. And you can literally watch that series and follow this game's production from the point where the player was a moving rectangle to what it's like now, and eventually until the game is finished. But we had stopped for a long time because we had moved on to coding the level 1 boss, and we did not want to reveal the level 1 boss to the public yet, and we still have not. So because of that, we stopped making the videos. But now that we've done so much with level 2 and added a new feature to the general gameplay, we can start making those videos again. And just to cover, let me go into level 1. But anyway, so here's level 1, and let's just cheat to get some magic. And so you might recall we've added a system where once you've collected all of the magic to reach the maximum power level, we didn't want it to just do nothing once you're at that point when you grab one of those energy balls. So what I did, let me pause. What I did was make it so that you get this energy cloak, but also now that corresponds to kind of like a desperation full screen magic attack. So you can choose to keep the cloak, which is what I call when you're, because I'm a Naruto fan, when you're fully magicked up, you've got this energy covering your whole body. And what that does is it increases the strength of all of your magical attacks, but also if you get hit, instead of taking an actual point of damage from your hit points, it'll just dissipate the cloak and you'll go back to normal. But we further enhanced that and made it so you can choose at any point to relinquish that extra magic energy, get rid of your cloak, and that'll do like a full screen magic attack. So you can make that strategical choice. Should I risk losing my cloak by getting hit once, or is it more valuable to use that energy now, lose the cloak intentionally, but do this full screen attack that hurts or kills weak enemies and will hurt a boss and stuff like that, destroy any projectiles that are coming your way. But we added 3 power levels to it, and just like the Sega game Golden Axe 2 and 3, you can build up to 3 of these boxes of power. And then while you're triggering the magic, if you have all 3 boxes of power, the longer you hold down the button that triggers the magic, it'll step through the first power level, the second, and the third. So you can actually just press the button quickly and just use the weakest power level. So if you had 3 blocks of power, you'd be down to 2, and you'd be able to do it twice more, or hold on to your cloak for getting hit 2 times before you completely left the cloak. So I hope that makes sense.
That should be the official name of those in the lore, you know, boxes of power.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah.
We've got power balls and power boxes. It makes
right.
sense. All right. So here I'm getting the last. Oh, if I can. I just lost one. What's going on? Certain attacks aren't working. That's really weird. So you can see right now I only have 1 bomb. So if I get hit, I'll lose it. But if I hopefully don't get hit, grab another one. Now I have 2. So you can see I just held the button down longer and used both blocks at once. But anyway, so when we do the Making Games and Construct video, we are going to actually review that code and explain how I got all that stuff working. And there's some pretty interesting elements not only involved in the logic of programming something like that, whether it's in Construct or any programming language or authoring system, but also other considerations you have to make when designing this kind of desperation bomb mechanic gameplay-wise. So that'll be our next Making Games and Construct video. But I think otherwise, that is it for this video. So thanks very much for watching.
If you enjoy our content and want to keep up to date on our games, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you want to support our projects, consider becoming a patron. The link's in the description, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks very much for watching. I don't want to stop playing.